Welcome. We're going to talk today about to one gentleman, Mac here, who's grown a business with $1,000 to $1 million business. How he's helped, how he got fired from Google and it helped to start his agency. How he's used that to use one of the best and highest leverage things for almost every small businesses. We're going to talk about Google My Business. We're going to go over the newest features, how to optimize it, how to get it ranking, his 4 simple steps to really dominate and get a lot of business. And plus, we are going to go about the types of videos you should do in there, the 3 things that to grow fast, and why only 10 to 20% of people are using this one special feature. Mac, thanks for being on the Garlic Marketing Show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. This is awesome.
And before we get started, of course, it's brought to you by videocasestory.com. One of the other great ways to grow your business is through your customer stories. Videocasestories.com is the easy way to collect, craft, and deliver your customer stories, whether you're a local business and a marketing agency or whatever your business, you need to be talking to your customers. So go check out videocasestory.com. All right, let's get to it. So tell me a little bit about, you've got an interesting story, how you started your agency.
Yeah, I'll sort of jump right into it. I think a lot of people have pitfalls along their career that sort of transition them into like what they're supposed to be doing, what they're meant to do with their life. A lot of people have these success stories that don't happen overnight. But essentially, I had a very fortunate life. I've worked very, very hard. I've had a good family. Went to Penn State, got recruited by Google, and went to work for Google out of college. And I've always been like an entrepreneur and small business owner and marketer. Like that's sort of like my background and skill set. But I was at Google, and I had a small business I was running at the time, and part of a startup I was doing as well. And my job at Google was to help small business clients spending money with Google Ads spend more money and spend it more efficiently. And a lot of them were like struggling businesses putting their last dollars into this cog of the machine of Google Ads just to try to make some money back because they didn't know anything else about digital marketing. And so they started asking me questions about SEO, search engine optimization, and how to improve their website and social media. So I started taking some of those questions and conversations offline and, developed these friendships and relationships with a handful of clients. And partnered up with a friend of mine who knew a lot about like tech and web design and coding. And so we started building out websites and doing some of these ad hoc marketing tactics for them, and kind of got my hand caught in the cookie jar. I was caught red-handed on a phone call that was recorded, and Google brought it up to me and said, I was saying things I shouldn't have been saying, and that, made me basically own up to it, which I did. And a couple days later, they fired me, kicked me off the best company to work for. And it was very devastating at the time, very depressing, probably one of the only depressing moments of my life. But, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And, I've had a very fortunate life. And so for that to be one of my main setbacks is a blessing. And it really, showed me of my character and, had my back against the wall to see what I was made of. And so I went all in on starting this marketing agency, and I sold the business I was working, building at the time, which was a phone repair shop out in Michigan. And I sold the equity in my company to my partners and basically took whatever I had and moved to Philly and went all in on starting this marketing agency and another phone repair company.
Nice. Well, I think it's cool that you have a phone repair company. It helps you know the ins and outs of running a small business, doesn't it?
Exactly. I kind of use it as a case study for SEO and Google My Business, Google Ads, to show people that there's a certain way to go about things, especially if you're a local service business or, brick and mortar, how to generate, free organic traffic, how to grow the business organically without spending a ton of time and money.
And how did you decide to focus on Google My Business? What made you decide to focus on that?
What you do is you have to reverse engineer what sort of business you're in and how people find you and like how to get their attention. So this doesn't work for every type of business, but it definitely helps, especially if you're a small local business, if you're a retail brick and mortar, if you're a local service business. Google My Business is the bread and butter that'll drive free organic residual traffic, phone calls, and customers, which results in revenue, in increased profit margins, and a better way of life. So the reason I say that is because it doesn't work the same for every business, is because as a local service provider, whether you're a phone repair shop, hair salon, plumber, roofer, dentist, whatever, people find you because they're searching. If somebody's searching for a service provider, they're 9 times out of 10 going to Google. Sometimes they might go to Yelp or Bing or Facebook or whatever, but 9 times out of 10 they're going to Google and they're searching for, XYZ near me. And as a local business, you're not competing against everybody across the world or the nation. You're literally competing against people in your backyard. And so that's where you see the local listings, also known as the map pack or the Google Maps listings. It typically shows the first three results, who's first, second, and third. And it orders them based on a couple different search criteria as part of their algorithm as to who they're going to show up first, second, third, and so on and so forth. And so, as a small local business owner, you need to understand, okay, what type of business am I running? How do I find new customers? How do they find me? Is this something that's very searchable? Is there like a lot of search intent for my service or products? And if so, should I spend a lot of my time on digital marketing, on local search engine optimization? Or if that's not the focus, should I spend it on Instagram or YouTube or whatever the case might be? So for local service businesses, Google My Business is the bread and butter. It drives 68% of my revenue for 4 retail locations in Philadelphia that do over 7 figures annually. So imagine doing about 800,000 in revenue just from getting business from Google My Business.
That's amazing. And does that type of traffic, because you worked in the ads department, and we talk about this also often. Is the traffic, is the leads that come from PPC, pay per click, different from the local search, the GMB?
100%. 100%. When you think about the SERP, the search engine results page, you can break it down into 3 criterias, especially if you're a business owner. Typically, depending on the business, you're going to have ads that show up at the top of Google. 50% of people don't even click ads. For one, I don't click ads. You might not click ads. A lot of people that are like more educated or biased to things don't click ads. And so, and one of the main reasons for that is because you don't know that you can trust the ads because people are paying to show up there. And because you don't want it to feel spammy at all, you want something organic and natural. So then you go below the ads, which if it's a local search, in local search intent, you're going to have the listings, the Google Maps listings, which, the first 3 results there. That's where I'd say a majority of people click. I'd say of the, 80% of clicks on Google are, either organic in terms of local or from the website organic. Less than 20% of people actually click on the ads in terms of like the overall capacity. But even a heavier percentage of that 80% click on the local listings because of the reviews. People see the reviews and they see the proximity to them. Plus, a lot of people, about 65%, closer to 70% now, are searching from their mobile devices, especially if it's a local search. And so with that, you also get the option to call the business or click for directions. So you're covering so many bases there by showing up in the local listing, in the map pack, on Google, which is what's going to dominate local search intent.
It's so important because also it's your first impression, isn't it, of businesses?
Yeah.
It's funny because I was talking to somebody and I have clients that spend $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 a month on their rent. And then they're not spending any time paying attention to this. How many people see that
Yeah.
versus ever walk into your office, right?
Yeah.
And how are you thinking about that? Like, how are you? Well, before we get into that, how did how fast did this help you establish a business with being having this Google My Business? Because I mean, you moved to Philly and start these businesses. How fast did you grow those businesses?
So nothing happens overnight. You've got to do a lot of organic things to start driving business like right off the cuff. Um, and you have to you've got to pay to acquire some business when you're first starting out. Whether it is Google ads or Facebook ads or Yelp ads or whatever, Thumbtack, Angie's List, you've got to do all those pay to play. You also have to build out all your citations, your free listings, your directories, your yellow pages, super pages, Foursquares, Yelps, Apples, Bings, Yahoos. You've got to build all those out. And then you've got to start like really hustling organically, whether you're like doing Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, third party provider apps. But to answer your question, I'd say it took me 3 to 6 months to really start showing up in a lot of the maps listings. And I realized I wasn't in as competitive of an industry as, let's say, a lawyer or a dentist or people that are already like prioritizing that. I was doing phone repair, and a lot of these guys didn't know about like local search engine marketing. And so, I really just focused on Google My Business, and what you need to really prioritize is just, a couple key things. One, completely build out your Google My Business listing. Two, build as many free local listings and citations and directories and bookmarks as you can so that all your information is the same and consistent across the entire internet. Three, build out a decent website. It doesn't need to be anything crazy. You could literally use something like Squarespace or Wix or Weebly or WordPress. Build something out that has your name, address, phone number, and all your relevant information. It doesn't need to be $100,000 website. It could cost you 500 bucks. And then four, crush the reviews game, especially on Google. Yelp and Facebook help too, but definitely focus on Google reviews, asking every single customer or client to leave you a review and respond to those reviews. And the last thing is just, be consistent across the internet with social media, your website updates, optimizing listings, Google My Business posts, photos, all those different things. Those are the 5 tactics, and you'll rank at the top of Google.
Yeah, I mean that it's simple, right? But not easy, is it? It takes a lot of work.
I tell business owners everybody's got the same resources, right? You just have more of some or more of other. You either have time or money. That's what it boils down to. So if you have more money, you pay somebody else to do it. If you have more time, you got to figure it out on your own.
Nice, nice. And when when you started your business, and you start running this to it, um, in running and getting clients through it. When did you know, hey, it's really really working? I mean, obviously you got ranking, but was there a point you're like, I'm getting a ton of leads. This is amazing.
Yes, I'd say a couple months in, and I have a very unique way of starting a business because I don't invest hardly any money at all, or at least I didn't back then. I started both my companies with about $1,000, and I rented virtual office space, and then I had an actual hot desk in a co-working space. I didn't even have my own office. So I just bought one desk for like 300 bucks a month, and I ran both my companies from that same address. I put like a suite 101 versus 105 or whatever the case was at the time. And I ran both of my businesses simultaneously by myself. So I would literally at times be on a marketing consulting call about SEO with a business owner while I'm fixing somebody else's phone. So like, you know, multitasking like crazy. And it got to the point where I was doing about 10 repairs a day myself in this office space while trying to be on like 7 or 8 conference calls and like meetings. It just wasn't sustainable. So that was about 6 months in. So then I hired somebody else to do the repairs. And then about 6 months later, once he was really busy, we were both really busy. Then I moved to a retail location and hired another person to do repairs. Um, but really, one of the main takeaways is this: I invested a lot of time and very little money. So you can start a business, even if it's a retail business, I started out in a co-working space to build up all my digital presence and SEO to the point where I was so busy, I had to go to retail. I had to grow. I had to expand. And I already had the money saved up to do so because I wasn't spending crazy money on anything.
That's yeah. That's I mean, it's a great way, and I think that's an important thing for people to realize. You either have time or you have money, and if you have money, you need to be invested in your marketing. If you have time and no money, invest your time. And I always tell people if you have neither time nor money, you've got a real problem.
Yeah. If
uh,
you have neither, you have a real problem. You need to somehow leverage other people's time or other people's money.
awesome, very cool, and this has been amazing. And so tell us about working with you all and working with you on getting this working.
Working with us is very easy and simple. We have kind of a unique business model that more agencies are trying to transition into, which is we're heavy on the contractor model. So we have all of our contractors, which are basically independent contractors, freelancers, business owners in their own right that we have as account managers or project managers on our team. And so what we do is, I come in and I help with the business strategy and growth and sales and just overall consulting. And then we bring on an account manager that helps you with your setup, your build out, your overview, communication, reporting, just, holding your hand throughout the process and making sure we do what we say we're going to do. And then we'll typically have at least one project manager. That's the person actually implementing a lot of the tactics and optimizations and changes and all these different things. So what it's working like with us, I mean, I'm another small business owner, and that's my family's the same way, very blue collar. What makes us different is, I used to work at Google, so we leverage a lot of our expertise and partnerships with Google. A lot of people on our team are either current or previous small business owners, so we know what that life is like, and we can have that conversation with you. And we only choose to work with small businesses. So we don't work with any Fortune whatever. We want to work with the people that we can make the biggest impact on because they don't really have the time or funds to do a lot of the crazy stuff that you need to do in the marketing world.
Love it, love it. Yeah, it's great to see that impact.
Yeah.
Awesome. And where's the best place to follow you?
Literally go to Google and search my name, Mac Frederick. You will find everything you need to find, such as Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, website, all that good stuff.
Nice. What's your favorite social platform right now?
In terms of consumption, probably YouTube. I
Nice.
don't really post a ton on anything, even though you should. Everybody should, but Instagram and probably TikTok.
Cool. Awesome. Awesome. We'll put all those links in the show notes. But Mac, thank you so much for being on the Garlic Marketing Show and telling about Google My Business.
Yeah, for sure. This was a blast. Thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to it.
And thank you all for taking Mac and I on our journey. Make sure to go check out Momentum Digital and make sure to take action on this. This has been Iron Garlic and the Garlic Marketing Show.